guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat with Priscilla. I am your host, Priscilla Moy, and as always, I am bringing you the hottest and the most wanted to see, watch, catch up with here in the city of Las Vegas. As promised, I am going to have an amazing, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beauty queen sitting here in the hot seat today. I promise I won't burn her in it. But everyone, she is an actress, she is a musician, singer, and she obviously is a 3-year title holder for Mrs. Nevada. She has been on Saved by the Bell, and she has been a host. She's been doing all of these amazing things over the span of her super long career. So I cannot wait to hear everything that she has to say, her whole story, and what it is that makes her her. Everyone welcome Ashley Tesoro. Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's so hot in here. I don't want to ruin your beautiful hair. Please take a seat.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm trying to get myself up here.
Everyone's just like, oh no, it's so high. I don't want to So what's so amazing is that I've known of you for some time. I've known your husband for a year or so, but this is the first time we're actually meeting, which I can't wait. And it's so interesting because before you came on, I knew that you're coming on, so I did a lot of research, as I do with all of my guests. And so you have a long career that spans beyond, obviously, you being a pageant queen and doing all of these things. And so, you were a musician, you're a singer, you're really great about your faith.
Thank you.
And you're an actress, and you're in Saved by the Bell. You're doing all of these things.
Thank you.
Right? So this started when you were 8. So please tell us a little just about what your life has been like in entertainment since that age.
Yeah, actually, I could even date it back further to age 6. So I remember my mom put me on my first pageant stage. I won my first major title at 8. I had won a couple of little local titles from 6 to 8. And then at 8, I won Little Miss California. And that was amazing. So I was a really young state title holder for California. I went on to the Little Miss America pageant. And then from there, I entered a modeling contest in San Diego, where I'm from, San Diego, California. And there was managers there and agents there, scouts there for Hollywood. And I won the competition. So it was, I think, ages, I want to say 4 or 5 all the way up to teenage years. And I was about 10 at the time, and I won the whole competition. So an agent and a manager was there that basically said, oh, we want to bring you to LA. And, you hear that and you wonder, is this really true?
Right.
And in my situation, it happened to be legitimate. And they were a real agent, a real manager from Hollywood. So I basically begged my mom for a year. She's like, oh, I don't know if, we really want to do this. We're in San Diego. That's in LA. It's a very cruel industry. And for 1 year, I kept saying, Mom, please, I really, really want to do it. So she finally said, okay. She booked the appointment with the manager. And I sat down and met with them, and I immediately started going on auditions, and I actually booked my very first audition at the time, which was an LA Gear shoe commercial. So they said, oh, there's a really big shoe brand in this big commercial. Don't worry, you probably won't get it your first time in, but just see how it goes. And I booked it, and it was amazing and so much fun. And then I went on to do several other commercials and movies, and then ultimately Saved by the Bell, and then Bold and the Beautiful. I'm giving you the short cliff notes. It was a lot of, auditions, a lot of perseverance, a lot of acting classes, a lot of rejection. So let's say I booked 20 or 30 jobs, we're talking 100 auditions for those, which are pretty good odds considering some people don't get that opportunity, but still, it was a lot of hard work. And looking back, I'm proud of what I accomplished.
Yeah, I love hearing the general gist, because then I like to pinpoint certain things, even if I already have known it. But I love to ask you certain parts of your career, because it's important to know how certain things created milestones that end up being something else. Because I think the biggest thing is that everyone thinks that, you're sitting here, you're beautiful, you have all of this big resume, you have a Wikipedia page, you have all of these things, but that's a result of years of work. And people think, oh no, she just got lucky, right? Someone came up to her at the mall and they were like, hey, you should be a model, you should come do it. But it's not, like that. And everything is different. Modeling's different, commercials are different, film's different.
Yes.
Being a pageant queen is completely different.
Yes.
So I would love to touch base. So what really made you love being in pageants? Because I know, I only had one experience, and that just was for me. My mom tried when I was little, and I was like, no, which is interesting, because here I ended up.
Yes.
But I would love to talk about that first, because, obviously that was where it kind of started for you.
Yes.
What do you love about it?
So I think there's so much about it that I love. I love, first of all, we're very articulate, accomplished, beautiful women on the outside, but on the inside, we have good character. Most all the pageant women that I've met, most of them, you have a few bad apples,
Mm-hmm.
but are very, very good women, and they're very accomplished, and they're very successful and driven. So I love the fact that we get to represent for not only the outer beauty, but most importantly, the inner beauty. We do a lot of charity work in the community. We are wonderful mothers and wives, and we're very well rounded women. And I think sometimes there is a stigma that if you're a beauty queen or a pageant title holder, it's like, oh, well, you're cute or pretty and you know how to walk in a gown and 6-inch heels.
Right.
But there's so much more to it. We do interviewing, before
Right.
we're able to even walk on the stage and present our outer beauty and our elegance and all that, we actually have to sit with judges that are doctors, lawyers, homemakers, entrepreneurs, designers, just these very successful, intimidating people that we have to sit with, and we have to answer their questions.
Right.
And we have to be able to articulate, and we have to be able to show our heart and who we are and be authentic and real and all these things while still looking good.
I know.
Okay, I'll add.
Yeah.
And it's a very demanding industry.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just walk up and look cute and get a title. So I love that it's all about the woman that's beautiful inside and out, and it's a challenge. And I always love a challenge.
And you always have to have something that you know that you're going to do afterwards.
Yes.
I did have another pageant queen on here, and I wanted to pinpoint the fact that not only is it harder, because I think everyone in front of the camera, they're going to be judged,
Yes.
but you're not, there's no winner, right? No one, there's like, oh no, I lost, or I took a certain place, so that already adds on a different level. And then after that, the real work begins when you have to actually like do what you said that you're going to do
Of course.
for the community.
Of course.
And so what is your, what do you like to give back? What's your main thing that you like to do for your community after you take your title?
So first of all, first and foremost, I'm a Christian person. My husband is a minister. We have had Tesoro Ministry Foundation, our 501c3 nonprofit ministry and charity for the last 20 years. That's like our baby. So, we've done public speaking. We do outreach, giving to people for their basic necessities. We're big believers that we can share our faith, but we also, meet people's needs. So they might be hungry, or they might need a shirt on their back, or they might need a resource to help them through their circumstance, not just their spirit. So we try to tend to both and, connect people with resources and give to them what we can, and through our ministry. And I'm a public speaker, so I have 2 church speaking engagements coming up. I've spoken in multiple conferences. My husband and I have done multiple meetings one-on-one with couples in crisis, families.
Yeah.
We both have our Christian ordination, ministerial counseling ordination. So we've been doing this, like I said, for 20 plus years together. Additionally, I work with multiple charities in the community, Living Grace Homes, First Choice Pregnancy Services. I do outreach with 3 Square, which is a food bank for those that are underprivileged. I've worked with Salvation Army. I've worked with Women's Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I am all about reaching out. I love it when charities reach out to me and say, hey, I know you have many causes already, but would you show up for this appearance? And I'm all about that. Sometimes I can help one time, sometimes I can help multiple times, but whatever I can do. I've worked with probably over 15 charities in the state.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then what I love is that there's so many people that could say all those things that they do like you, but I think what the main important part of it is, why you're so successful in it, is because a lot of people, when they're in a time of great struggle, like their faith is the one thing that kind of
Yes.
brings them back up again.
Of course.
And I think there's some that, they might not be really religious, but then there's always one thing when they're in a time of crisis, whether it's a death, a breakup, financial crisis, like things happening in the world that are completely unfortunate, and there's no really way to fix it, right? Everyone wants to find a way to fix it, but I think that's when everyone kind of becomes in tune with their faith. So I think for you, would you say that that's so inspiring for you to keep going because you see how you can kind of change people's lives with what you do?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's really like a thankless job, so to speak, because people think, oh, well, you have a ministry, you're a minister, so therefore you should just give of your time no matter what. And they don't think they don't think to go, oh, you have a ministry, thank you for helping me, let me donate, because you use that to help other unfortunate, underprivileged people.
Right.
So sometimes it's just some people are very gracious and like, oh, we want to help in any way we can, or if we can't, can we volunteer with you or do something? And then some people are just like, oh yeah, thanks for the help. and then they're on their way and they don't even think to pay it forward.
Yeah.
And so I think that it can be the most rewarding position and just so amazing to see people's lives change. And I think that sometimes it can be challenging where you have to dig in and go, wow, we really just helped that person and they're not even thinking of paying it forward, even if it's not to our nonprofit,
Right.
but just to help somebody else. They're kind of like on their merry way that they, thanks for the help, and they're on their merry way. We're like, no, but the whole point is pay it forward in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to sometimes, you love the lovely and you love the unlovely, and you help them because they're human.
Exactly.
Even if they don't really have a great perspective on it, you help them because they're human.
Yeah.
And you hope that maybe at some point they'll mature and look back and go, oh,
Exactly.
wow, I think I need to pay it forward.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are really appreciative and pay it forward, you're like, wow, I can't believe I impacted that one. And then maybe they went out and impacted like 1,000.
Yeah.
You just don't know what your
Exactly.
influence will do, and then what they will take from that and then go and pay it forward to maybe thousands.
Exactly.
I've seen that happen too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Because it also, and then it makes you be like, oh my God, now, like, even though I had a hand in that, like, I want to make sure they're inspiring, like, me
Right.
to be better now. Because it's not even just about money, guys. Obviously, money can go a long
Yes.
way, but it's also about being out there and being a good person like
Yes,
yourself
of course.
for the community. I mean, every
Yes.
impact, every time you meet someone, you will have an impact. You know, I'm not saying, like, just strip, like, everyone having access to you, because you have to protect yourself
Yes,
as well.
yes.
But at the same time, just knowing that, like, you don't know who that person is, what they're
Right.
going through,
Yes.
what they need,
Be kind,
and what they lack. Right.
volunteer. I mean, it doesn't take money to
Mhm.
volunteer. So I agree with you to your point. It's not even about money. It's about just paying it forward by being a good person. Go volunteer. Go do something. Give somebody a kind word.
Exactly.
Just be a good person.
Because a lot in this world is so driven by hate,
Yes.
right? Everyone wants to do better than someone else. Everyone wants to be here, but they're forgetting that, you can't have a closed mind when you meet tons of people in the city.
Because in our society, especially in this country, and I love this country, I love representing, and I've been to Mrs. America pageant, and I love it. I love our country, but people are so privileged here, so many of them, that I think sometimes we forget that there's such a vast world out there with people that would only dream of what we have at our lowest point.
Right.
And that's very just in your face. It's like, wow, on my worst day, there's somebody else out there that has it so much worse.
Exactly.
And I think that we get caught up in competitiveness, and that in our society, it's like, well, there's a pie, and we each have to take our piece of the pie, and you got to do whatever it takes to get it, because it's just one pie. And the way I look at it is, I go, no. I have my own pie.
Exactly.
This is my life and my sphere, and what I'm doing, and I'm living my destiny.
Exactly.
And I'm not worried about the other person,
Exactly.
because I don't compare myself to other people. I don't worry about what they have versus what I maybe don't have, or vice versa. I just say, this is my life. This is what God has given me as a gift. He has given me everything in my life as a gift, even if I've worked for it. There's people that have worked just as hard as me and they don't have it, because we don't always fall on good fortune or that blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just try to compete with me, and I try to be the best that I can be.
Yes.
And I try to inspire other women to do the same thing, because you're not me and I'm not you. I could never do you like you, and you couldn't do me like me, because I'm my own individual, as are you.
Yes.
And so that is my mission in everything that I do, whether I'm preaching, whether I have the crown on my head, whether I'm, delivering food, or I'm volunteering somewhere. My whole goal is to inspire, to help and inspire. And that's my mission.
Yeah, and I love that you pinpointed that, because what a lot of people don't understand is they're so focused on what everyone else is doing, especially with social media nowadays, and being in your face. Like, everyone wants to flaunt the best parts, and like, we're all guilty of it, obviously.
Of
but
course.
like, who's truly successful by whether or not they're out there worrying about everyone else. Because I know it sounds selfish, but you have to know that as long as you're happy, only you know what's going to make you happy.
Of course.
Right? And so that, I love that you said that, because I want to make sure people understand that, is that just because we're sitting here, we do all of these things, maybe that's something within you that you guys need to look at and figure out, well, what do I want?
Of course,
right? Like, what is my strength? What is going to make me happy? And how can I be inspired, instead of being all like, okay, now I have to do what they're doing, because that's what's going to make me here.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard because sometimes we encounter people that put us down. They don't respect us.
Right.
They're rude. And so our defense mechanism is like, oh, I have to prove myself. And then all of a sudden we start jockeying and becoming what we hated that somebody did to us.
Right.
And so that's when we have to self-reflect and go, oh, I really hated when that happened to me, and so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that person, and I'm not going to try to strive to prove myself, because living my best life is enough proof.
Exactly.
And so, and being happy is even more important than what anybody else thinks.
Because if you already have that issue, you already have proved that you're here, right? Like, as bad as it sounds.
It's better just to be happy. Yes. And, and to your point about Instagram, and that is just, I love Instagram as a tool and as, being able to connect with people that we otherwise wouldn't be able to. And I love sharing our lives, and I love beautiful photos, and I love all that. But I think it's a trap. Because, you have beautiful photos on Instagram. I follow you on Instagram. You're welcome. And you know that you may have 1 to 5 gorgeous pictures, but you may have taken 100 to get there. Mm-hmm. So, it takes time, effort, work. I don't wake up and go, oh, look at me with the crown and flowing hair and all this. This takes time. You know what I'm saying? When I go drop my kids off at school, it's a little mommy bun and sweatpants and no makeup and just rolling out of bed to get, So I think people compare to the images on Instagram and all these social media platforms, but it's a lot of effort, work, lighting, timing, picking the right photo.
Mm-hmm. Of course. So tell the audience what 3 titles you do hold.
So I have held 3 consecutive titles. So I'm a title holder of 1, because you can only be a possessor of 1 title at a time, but for 3 years in a row I've won. So I won Nevada America, Mrs. Nevada America 2020. I was Mrs. Nevada International 2022. So it looks like it skipped a year, but it was actually consecutive because each pageant does their years a little different. But it was back to back. And then Mrs. Nevada Universe 2023. Okay. So, and then with the Nevada America title, I went to the Mrs. America pageant. With the Nevada International, I went to International. And I'll go to Universe in July, Mrs. Universe. I was really blessed to make the finals at both America and International, which is, any woman that's competed knows how hard that is. So it was a blessing, and then I'll go to Universe and see if maybe I can make it out of the finals to the first place. But I believe and feel that I'm a winner no matter what. Yeah. Because it's just such hard work.
Exactly.
So just getting up there is so stressful.
That's already just goodness, the prep, and then everything that puts into this is just way more than just putting some makeup on and everything like that. Yes. Was there one competition that really stood out to you as something where you're just out of the ones that you won, where you're like, oh gosh, I'm so nervous, I don't think I can do it, this one's really hard? Was there one in particular?
I think of Mrs. America. It wasn't that I didn't think I could do it. It was just we had worked so hard. We go there for a week to the hotel at the Westgate. We rehearse every single day, all day long with, breaks, of course. We're not, in a prison there or something, but they work us very hard. We're doing appearances. We're doing all these things. They rehearse us the day of the show. And they go, okay, now get ready and grab your stuff and come to the show. And you do 2 shows. You have to do a preliminary and see if you make it to finals, and then you do a final. And I made it to the finals, and I just remember at the finals being backstage about to start going, I hope I can get through this. And I was a showgirl for my costume. You have to do a costume. And I had this huge, beautiful, red costume, and I just was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kneel down, and I'm just going to just kneel, because I can't really sit in this, so I'm just going to kneel for a second and get a second wind. And I remember I just kneeled there for a minute, and I got that second wind. I was like, okay, girl, I kicked my own butt, and I was like, this is your shot, get out there.
Exactly.
And I did, and I made finals, and I did really well, and I'm really proud. But it's a very surreal moment when you walk out on the stage. It was the Elvis stage where he used to perform when he lived at the Westgate and had his residency there. And it's surreal, and you just walk out on that Elvis stage, and you're with all these gorgeous women in this huge sea of people, and it's your time. Exactly. And it's a little nerve-wracking, but I try to channel my nerves to be more of a powerhouse rather than letting it shrink me back.
Exactly, because once you're on that stage, now's the time. All the work you've done has got to. It's kind of taking the coat off, and you're doing all of those things. So before we go, I want to pinpoint on one last thing. You're a singer as well, and I know that you actually recorded some songs. Is there any, in a gist, anywhere where people can hear you sing? Do you perform? Do you have albums out that they can possibly listen to?
Yeah, so I just actually sang the national anthem for an event for our lieutenant governor. I'm singing at, the 2 women's conferences. Anytime I speak, they usually have me sing as well, so I do quite a bit of singing. I've recorded about 3 different EP albums, which are considered they're short albums. I did a country gospel, and country gospel, and full gospel with Amazing Grace and those types of hymns. And So my music was on YouTube, not YouTube, iTunes. Okay, sorry, my mind is going blank. On iTunes for quite a while, and now I've repackaged it and I'm going to put it back on for
Okay,
people
great.
to do purchase downloads.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, it will be back up for people to download, but I'm reworking it right now, and so it's not up right now.
Yeah.
But yes, everybody can go on my Instagram and they can see my appearances and come watch me speak and sing and all that.
Yeah, that's also another thing. I know there's so much with you that I love when there's like not enough time, but
Yes.
so that's why I would love to have you back on and talk about
Of course.
your acting. But like, is there any way people can reach you to either seek your guidance, maybe if they're trying to be a new person of faith, it's a newfound faith, or listen to your music, or maybe even hire you, because I know that you're still doing modeling, acting, all of those things,
all those
right?
things. Oh, absolutely. So the best way is to DM me. So I'll check all the DM boxes, and on Instagram, that's at Ashley Tesoro. And yeah, you can get a hold of me through that. And if I don't respond, it's because I haven't seen it, and just send me a comment to my photo. Hey, check your DM.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, absolutely
Yes.
fantastic interview. I really hope that you had a great time sitting
Of
here on the hot
course.
seat. It's amazing to kind of have what's all behind what people might see,
Yes.
and especially someone like you probably has so much advice, so much guidance that you can give in all these different aspects, which is
Yes.
amazing because it's not just one thing. So
Yes.
you're a very well-rounded, beautiful woman,
Thank
obviously.
you.
So I
Thank
know
you.
that you're inspiring everyone
Thank
here.
you.
So everyone, Ashley Tesoro, thank you so much for being here. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And when we come back, we're going to meet more people that have had a great influence on the amazing city of Las Vegas. See you then.